On today's episode, you'll hear from a business owner on a mission to change the global economy one small business at a time. This is the Be a Marketer podcast.
Be a Marketer.
My name is Dave Charest, Director of Small Business Success at Constant Contact, and I help small business owners like you make sense of online marketing. And on this podcast, we'll explore what it really takes to market your business, even if marketing's not your thing. No jargon, no hype, just real stories to inspire you and practical advice you can act on. So remember, friend, you can be a marketer. And at Constant Contact, we're here to help. Well, hello, friend, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. And I'd like to direct your attention to the one and only Kelsey Carter.
Ooh, I'm here. That was such a nice intro. Hello. I'm happy to be here as always.
Hi, Kelsey. Good to see you.
Hi, Dave. Great to see you.
I've got a question for you. Have you ever run into one of these situations where you kind of meet somebody for the first time and you just like hit it off right away?
Oh, yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I'm talking about, right?
Yep. Yeah. Some of my best friendships that I still have happened that way.
It's amazing when those types of things happen and you just like the conversation is effortless and it feels like a productive conversation too. It's not just, you run into those people and it's not going well and you just have like that idle chit chat and it's like painful, right?
Yeah, and then you feel a little awkward or uncomfortable and you're like, when is this? When are they going to leave?
Yeah, can this stop now? And so I'm excited about our conversation with our guest today because this is one of those ones that I was really like, do we have to stop? Do we have to stop talking? Like, can we just keep going? And I got to really, you probably saw it as you were watching it live, and heard it as we were listening back. But I got to geek out a little bit too about some of these marketing things that really excite me. And I love that our guest today has these processes behind all of that stuff. And so it's a really great conversation that I'm excited to bring to everybody today. And I'm also excited because our guest actually does some really interesting things on how she actually runs her business. Her customers can choose how much they pay for her product and her platform, and she gives the profit back to her staff. And these are all things that you probably aren't going to find in a how to run a business book. And so really lends to that idea that you get to build the business that you want to build. And she also runs a global movement called Thank You Small Business, and that's focused on convincing corporations and consumers to buy from small businesses so we can create this world where we're all living in these communities and neighborhoods that are full of vibrant small businesses that we all benefit from. And those are all things I'm sure we can all get behind. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, Kelsey, who are we chatting with today?
Today's guest is Carissa Reiniger, the founder and CEO of Silver Lining. Now, Silver Lining is a software as a service or SaaS platform that helps small businesses set and hit financial goals. The platform is based in behavior change science, and its purpose is to help individual small business owners not just set their goals, but actually modify their behavior so they can take the right actions and stay on track to achieve those goals.
I love all of that. It's like music to my ears, these things that you're saying. And so what I love about what Carissa brings to this is her background in psychology. And she really takes into account the context in which people are operating, right? So it's about what is the agency someone has inside their set of particular circumstances, and how do you acknowledge that context and then support people despite those circumstances to achieve their goals. And so really gets into this in a deeper level. And Silver Lining is on a mission to really change the global economy one small business at a time. So you might be thinking, hey, well, how do you do that? Right? And from Carissa's perspective, the focus is really twofold. One, you've got to design solutions that help individual small businesses set and hit their financial goals. And then two, at a macro level, you really need to look at the systemic things that make it hard to be successful as a business owner and really try to address those as well. And so you might be wondering, well, how's that working out? And well, I asked Carissa, I was like, why is Silver Lining still around 20 years later?
When you get the chance to work with small business owners every day, like you guys do at Constant Contact, you come to, I have deep admiration and deep respect for every single small business owner I've ever met. I say all the time, like the fact that we've decided that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are the titan of industry and, the examples of entrepreneurship that we all want to become, I think is deeply distressing, actually, because it is absolutely the antithesis of what the world needs, B, how we grow the economy, and C, the type of people that we want to adore. In counter to that, these small business owners that we work with around the world face unending hardship. Many come from marginalized communities. Many were forced to leave their countries. I mean, you're talking about the type of resilience and tenacity that is almost Herculean. And yet we write them off as being small, insignificant, irrelevant. And so if the root answer to all of this is, I'm here because of them. I'm here because they deserve the right products and services. They deserve people that don't give up on them and go up market because it's hard to sell to small businesses. They deserve the right resources. And by the way, not only do they deserve it, all of us in the economy benefit from their success. And so when we look at bigger issues like a growing wealth divide, gender inequality, racial inequality, I mean, I genuinely believe that small business is probably the solution to most of those big, big, big macro problems. And so I always say, I'm almost 20 years in, but I think I'm just getting started. I mean, these are such big issues that it will take lots of us lifetimes of commitments to shift. But at the end of the day, it's an honor to do what we do because of the businesses that we serve.
So obviously in all of this, and any business has to be profitable in order to sustain and continue to go. And so would you mind sharing, just to give us a sense of like, how does your business make money today? Where does that come from?
Yeah. So we have three revenue streams. We're a very simple business model. Like you alluded to, one of my issues is that a lot of small business owners who are going through financial hardship or having a hard quarter, they often don't get the support they need because they can't afford it. And so we create this growing divide between those that succeed and those that don't, which is, of course, the root issue. So we have a pay what you can model. Any small business anywhere in the world that makes less than 250,000 US dollars a year, or US dollar equivalency a year in annual revenue, choose what they pay for SLAP. So SLAP is technically 300 US dollars per month per small business, but anyone in the world, no strings attached, no application process, they get to the paywall, they choose what they can pay. So that's revenue stream number one, is monthly credit card swipes from all the small businesses that use SLAP globally. Number two is we have a partnership model. So we work primarily with economic development agencies, financial institutions, and franchisors, all people that have a vested interest in seeing the small business owners in their community, their franchisees, their Main Street small businesses, their lending, banking customers. Their success depends on the success of the small businesses. And as an industry, we're woefully inadequate in supporting those small businesses that franchisors and banks and lenders and government agencies basically make money on. So they will subsidize the cost of SLAP for small businesses in their community and will develop really deep partnerships to help their small businesses succeed. In a way, we call it a quadruple win deal. The partner wins, Silver Lining wins, small businesses win, and the economy wins. And then our third revenue stream is that I get asked to speak a lot. People buy books we create. There's a lot of education we do. And so we generate revenue from that. But that's it. It's a really simple business model, very intentionally designed to be that way.
Yeah, love that. So you mentioned obviously doing this a long time, coming up on 20 years. You feel like you're just getting started. When you start to think about the work that you are doing in your SLAP community, what makes you smile when you think about running your own business?
I was just saying right before this conversation, I came out of a room with a group of our small businesses, about 100 of them. I think in the room today, there were people probably from about 40 different countries. And the point was to be there to talk SLAP strategy. I lead a SLAP strategy call once a month where we talk strategy and how to optimize strategy. But the reality is you can't talk about strategy as a small business owner if you don't talk about the context that you're building the strategy in. So there's been election results all over the world that are continuing to go in a very certain direction. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of global conflict. There's a lot of changes in technology. I mean, at a geopolitical, geoeconomic, and geotechnology level, we are facing into deep uncertainty. Whatever people believe about those truths is sort of irrelevant. It just means there's a lot of change coming. And in the midst of that change, small business owners will be deeply affected, especially small businesses from marginalized communities. And so we were there to talk strategy, and we ended up instead having people share their stories about how they're doing right now. One man shared the fact that his Black son was killed by police in Minneapolis recently. One woman shared that she had to flee Ukraine and move to a new country, and she's basically building from scratch because she had to flee her country. And so you hear these stories and they make me cry first, but what makes me smile is that these humans are so resilient and so beautiful. And despite the atrocities that they face and the hardships they face, their determination is to keep contributing to society. They want to build a business that contributes, that creates opportunity for others, that provides for their families. That's what makes me smile, is just these beautiful humans. And despite the odds, despite the failure rate, despite the issues, they want to contribute. They're not in this to gain. They're in this to continue to build something that contributes to the collective. And so it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to witness, day in and day out.
When you think about you personally, what do you find most challenging about running your own business?
How long do we have, Dave? Yeah.
Can we steal some extra time from you?
Hours? Yeah. I always say running a business is relatively simple. I think we all have the same problems. And, right, it's so hard. It's simple and it's so hard.
Yeah.
So I have all the same problems our small businesses have. It's hard to figure out how to manage cash flow, especially when the economy is uncertain, because we have this pay what you can model. We can't have the standard prediction of capital in the same way others do. So cash flows are real. I'm always figuring out and thinking about cash flow, money in the bank, how we do it well, how we continue to scale and grow. We never turn anyone away, that we protect our business. We're at an inflection point where the way that I've run Silver Lining so far, it's not working anymore. We can't be so reliant on me as the CEO. And so I have to build a really, really, really good executive team right now. And that's hard to do. It's hard to find those people because of our deep conviction to justice and profit and being high performing and protecting our culture. There's not a lot of individuals that can operate at that intersection at a senior level. And so finding the right staff, all of us have labor issues, finding the right staff, building the right team. I think one of the other things I think a lot about is how I make sure that as we scale and grow, the quality of what we do never gets diminished. So it's easy to do that with software. The software stays the same for everyone that uses it, but I would say we're like software as a service, with the service in all capital letters. We do a lot of human support for every single small business we work with. And so I'm deeply convicted about and always concerned about how we make sure that every small business, no matter who they talk to at Silver Lining, is honored and just given the best possible experience. So those are probably my three big, cash flow always, the right team always, and, protecting, making sure that even as we grow and scale, we never compromise the experience of any one individual, so that we're always doing our best to help every person we work with.
So I want to shift us a little bit to think about just marketing here. I mean, this is a show about marketing, and obviously that's one of the top challenges we often see with business owners, because of course they want to do their thing, and then marketing is the thing they also have to do in conjunction with that thing, which, people don't always have a degree in that or understand how that works. And I'm curious, what level of experience would you say that you have with marketing today?
Personally, me?
Yeah.
I'm definitely a better salesperson than marketer. So I have built Silver Lining through these channel partners, these sales partnerships, much more than I've focused on marketing. That being said, I've tried every marketing trick in the book to varying degrees of success. And so I would give myself a 7 out of 10 on how knowledgeable and skilled I am at marketing in the current moment right now.
Where did you start?
0. Yeah.
So what was that?
And by the way, things are changing so fast that I could be 0 again tomorrow, right? I mean, I think that's the other thing about, again, you guys know more than me about this, but the marketing landscape, how you do sales kind of stays the same all the time. How you do marketing has to change and evolve constantly. So, I'm very humble about what I would consider my marketing knowledge.
Well, we mentioned, of course, that for many small business owners, marketing is really that kind of necessary evil. It's a thing that they know that they need to do, not something they necessarily want to do. And I feel like you've probably got some type of interesting relationship with marketing yourself. What can you tell me about your feelings toward marketing in general?
I mean, I'm going to say something provocative. You guys can edit it out. I hate marketing. I hate it. I don't like it.
Well, so how do you deal with that, right? Yeah. Obviously, again, it's something you need to do. So how do you deal with that complicated relationship?
Yeah. Listen, I think it's totally necessary, to your point. And I think if it's done well, it's very beautiful. I think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a Constant Contact podcast, I think tools like Constant Contact are critical to be able to do it well. What my relationship with marketing is very specifically is that I always say to our small businesses, I say to my marketing team, nobody wants to be marketed to. People want to be connected with. And so stop marketing and just figure out how to help people, but figure out how to help as many people as possible. That's basically marketing. How do you share a message and add value to as many people as possible in such a compelling and authentic way that they then have a little moment of trust built with you, that you can build on and potentially turn into business if they're the right customer for you. So my personal philosophy on marketing at Silver Lining has been, we educate, we don't market.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you see anything out in the world about Silver Lining, you'll see that we're usually trying to offer tips on how to grow your business, or I'm speaking on stages, teaching people our methodology for free. It is a proprietary methodology I designed, but we share it freely. Anyone, anywhere in the world could find everything you need to know about how Slap works. We're not precious about it. We don't hide it. We don't make people pay for it. We try to be generous with it. The second thing that we're really focused on is trying to really celebrate small businesses, to be an advocate for our customers. So we're not trying to sell them. We're trying to profile them. We're trying to raise their, respect in the world. And now as we do that, as we try to help them and as we try to profile them, we build trust with them and they start to consider us someone that is for them, not marketing to them, but fighting for them. And so we see that the conversion then to wanting to become a Slapster is much more high. We've got high conversion rates. Once they know about us, we've got pretty high conversion rates because at no part of the process are we trying to market to them. We really genuinely are trying to use marketing strategies to connect with them at scale, but really in the name of helping them. The other thing that we are very audacious about, we don't have a target market. We have an ideal client. So a very specific profile of who we know we're best suited to serve. And so we are very open. Every time I speak on a stage, I say, this is our ideal client. I built Slap for you if you are like this.
Yeah.
If you're not like this, I hope you get value today, but this is not for you. And so we're really, really focused on not marketing to a target market, but connecting with our ideal client and trying to be as specific and diligent about how we do that as possible.
Talk to me a little bit about that ideal client thing, right? Because I think this is important for people to hear, even if you just think of, talk to me through how that just changes how you approach what it is that you do, even how you communicate. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So if you're a small business listening, this applies to me and you and probably to Constant Contact, right? What we teach in Slap and what I've applied to Silver Lining is that the most important person in your small business is your customer, your ideal client, not you. So when you're thinking about marketing strategy, don't think about what you want. I don't really care if you want to be Instagram famous. I don't really care if you want to be in the news. I don't really care if you like or don't like going to events. I care about how your ideal client consumes information, how they get their information, how they make their choices. And then we need to design connecting strategies that meet the reality of the ideal client. Now, if you're going to choose the right strategies to market or sell, connect, we say, to your ideal client, you need to know who they are. And you don't need to know like a target market profile. You need to know exactly who they are. Where are they Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.? How often are they at home or at their desk or in their car? Do they take public transit or drive? Because all of a sudden, all these seemingly very complicated decisions about how to make marketing spends or what to do or what to invest in become really easy. So when you create an ideal client through Slap, you figure out who they are. So their age, their gender association, their marital status, if they have kids or not, how old their kids are, where they work, if they're self-employed, how much money they make, what their annual salary would be, if they live in the country or a city or a suburb, in a house, in a condo, in an apartment, how they get around, a bike, a car, a truck, public transit, their hobbies, their personality, their passions, what they read. Are they sitting around on the weekend reading a novel or the BBC app? What are they doing with their lives, their time? And when we understand that profile really clearly, it becomes so easy to know what to do to connect with them. So I always say, if I had $1 for every time a small business owner asked me if they should I have an Instagram account? I always say to them, I don't know. Does your ideal client use Instagram? Is it their primary place where they make choices and consume information? If so, yes. If not, absolutely not. I think people are looking for these answers, these magical, mystical answers, right? And the reality is it's very specific to each customer, each small business and their ideal client.
Yeah. I've found time and time again, the ideal answer is, well, it depends.
Exactly.
Let's unpack
really?
that, right? Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So
exactly.
I'm curious here, just in terms of what you're saying, of course, with ideal client and all of that is spot on. But where does how do you make sure that as you're creating this and thinking through this, that you have something that is based in reality, right? Because I think it's very easy to create something that, okay, I imagined this person, but this is so far away from real people that you're never going to get anywhere with it, right? So how do you...
I love this question.
Yeah.
Good question. No one's ever asked me this question, I think, in 20 years. I love that you asked this question. It's so
Good night,
good.
everybody.
It's so
Thank
important.
you.
I know. Thank you, Dave. You should be a marketing expert. So what we say is an ideal client has 4 attributes all the time. They pay you. This is not your like grandma's neighbor that you give free flowers to from your flower shop because she's so lovely. That's not your ideal client. They pay you for your product services. Number 2, they value you. You're meeting a real need for them. So it's not something that they do once off or on the side or because they reluctantly have to. You are really important to them. They value what you offer and you're solving a problem for them, some need they have. Number 3, they refer others to you. Your ideal client, you always know they're your ideal client because they start referring others to you. They know other people like them. And if you're really meeting a need they have, then they're going to tell other people about you. You're going to get referrals. And then number 4, and this is critical, you enjoy working with them. None of us should work this hard building a small business to be miserable our whole life, working with people we don't care about or we don't like or we're not passionate about. And so the ideal client is someone that you personally wake up out of the morning and think, oh my God, how fabulous that I get to serve these people. So I always say SLAP would work for tech startups. It's a basic framework to grow a business. It would work for bigger companies. I don't care about tech startups and bigger companies. I care about small businesses. So my ideal client is a small business. I care about them. I get joy working with them. So the way that we help our small businesses define their ideal client in our software, they literally have to go find 20 examples of real customers from all of their years in business that fit these 4 criteria. They enter their real names in the platform, and then they answer all these demographic and personality details about each of those individual humans. And 100, it's like kind of like fun. It's like little magical fairy dust. 100% of the time, the patterns in their gender association, their age, their income level, where they live, how they get around, their personality, it's almost always revealed. Every once in a while, maybe you'll see a conflict between 2 competing ideal clients, right? There's sort of 2 trends that emerge. And then we say to the customer, to our customer, the small business, okay, choose. You can't have 2 ideal clients. So which one do you care about more? It looks like your product or service could work for either of these categories. Which one do you want to invest your life, your energy into? Who do you care about more? And so we help them basically use real context, real people, real examples through the lens of these 4 attributes and build that avatar that is based in fact.
I'm so aligned with everything you've just said. It's such a simple thing too, right? Because we often
so simple
get so abstract with all of this stuff. And it's just like, I've often said, even in my role at Constant Contact, in content roles, it's like the worst thing we can do is stick a bunch of marketers in a room and try to figure out the problems that we're trying to solve for people.
Exactly.
Right? Like you actually have to talk to real people. And so
and can I just double down on
Please,
that?
yeah,
Dave?
yeah.
So every time a small business owner calls, like, I don't know what to do. I'll say, don't call us, call your ideal client.
Yeah. The answers are in front of you.
They're right there.
Yeah.
And not only that, customers love when you ask them. Every strategic decision I have made for Silver Lining in the last 20 years, every product feature, every new business strategy we've implemented, every direction, everything I have done at Silver Lining, I have actually asked our customers what they think first. I ask them, hey, would this help you? Do you need this? I see this thing in the world. Is this true? And then they tell us through surveys and conversations and town halls. And then I just go do whatever they tell me. And then I always get it right. Not because I'm smart, because they're literally telling me what they need. And then I go make sure that that happens. And then we work together. So it can be so simple.
I'll say this, you were smart enough to pay attention to that, right? Because to your point, they will tell you, they will give you the answers and you have to do something with that information, right? And I think that's where, I mean, there's so many complicated factors that get in the way. There's ego, there's what you think, right? And sometimes there's a combination of those things, but you have to be in tune with that audience in order to make it work.
100%. And then business strategy is actually really simple. But to your point, we have I'm not sure if I can say this. At Silver Lining, we have a no ego and no rule.
Oh, you can say that.
It is, okay. It is impossible to help a small business owner if they have a big ego or if they're an There's nothing we can do, right? In the world of behavior change science, the fundamental principle of behavior change is I can't change you, you can't change me, but we can each change ourselves. We do have agency inside of us. We just need the right structure and support wrapped around us. But if you're not interested and committed in your own change and you're not willing to embrace outside structure and support, there's nothing that anyone can do. And so to your point, every human can succeed. I mean, I bet my career on it. I believe it to my before, I've got countless amounts of data to prove it, but not if they don't want to change, not if they don't want to listen, right? And so if you're listening, if you're a small business owner, I can just tell you with every bone in my body, your success is not in pretending you've got it all figured out. Your success is in being curious and humble forever. I've been in business for almost 20 years and I'm more curious and actually much more humbled than I was when I started. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect. I still got all sorts of problems, but I am trying so deeply and I become so clear that by asking for help, by saying I don't know what I don't know, by constantly asking my customers what they need, by never assuming I've got it figured out, that is another big reason I'm still here today. If I had relied on my own wisdom, I put that in parentheses and brackets, and my own know-how and my knowledge and my own gumption, I would definitely not be here.
Yeah. So I feel like we have a lot to really kind of dig into here. And so, we talk a lot about that idea of time, of course, and money being hindering factors or challenges in terms of really businesses many times just finding new clients. And so what have you found to be helpful to, I'm going to say people in that situation, but that really feels like every business owner, right? So what have you found to really help with time and money being those challenges?
Okay, great. So when I started Silver Lining, I interviewed 400 small businesses in the first year. My goal was to go for one coffee a day, every day for the first year. And I ended up doing 400 over that first year. And what I heard, basically these business owners could not have been more different from a demographic, industry, everything, right? But what they all said is, I don't have enough time and I don't have enough money. That's why I can't grow my business. And then I would say, well, how do I help you create more time? And they'd say, well, I need more money. If I had more money, I could hire more people and have more products and have more software. I said, okay, well, how do I help you get more money? Well, I need more time. If I had more time, I could do more business and I could sell more things. I could do more things. So we call this the cash flow capacity catch-22. We don't have enough time and money. We think we need more money to make more time to make more money. And then the irony is every small business on the planet wants to grow their business, but growth requires time and money.
Yeah.
And this is why small businesses fail, right? It's not market conditions. It's not economic issues. It's not the politicians in power. It's not even inflation, labor shortage. All of those are circumstances we have to be good at dealing with. But we fail because we either run out of time or we run out of money. We go bankrupt or we burn out. That's the reality. And so if we want to shift the success rate of small businesses, we need to use the time and money we have better. So what I say to every small business is, unless they can find a money tree that I am unaware of, or they can magically find more than 168 hours in a week, more time and more money is not coming. And actually growth doesn't make that cash flow capacity catch-22 go away. My company is bigger than it's ever been. I've got more cash flow capacity catch-22 issues and more time and money pressure on me than I've ever had. So as business owners, our objective, our assignment is to do two things. It's to become more skilled at how to use the time and money that we have. I would estimate that on average, when small businesses come to SLAP and they start their SLAP, they are wasting, and I'm using that word very intentionally, they are wasting about 80% of their time and 80% of their money. They're misusing it, not because they're bad people. I don't mean they're cheating. I mean that they're spending it on things that are not helping them grow their business. Right. And so if we can just stop all those bad choices and take that time and money and put it into the highest priority activities that will actually get to results, you instantly see a shift. Instantly. But the second thing we have to do is actually build the mental resilience to handle the pressure of the cash flow capacity catch-22. There has never in my 20 years of business been a moment where I've met someone who has too much time and too much money. That's not happening, right? It's not magic. This issue is not going away. Right, exactly. What do I do with all my time and my money as a small business owner? Find me that person. So what we need to do instead is build the mental resilience, the mindset to handle that pressure. So time and money are the two things we talk about the most at Silver Lining, but it's really a combination of building the skill set of how to say no to everything that is not the highest priority and spend every minute of our time and every dollar of our money on the highest priority actions that will have the most direct correlation to results. And then in parallel to that, building the mental resilience, the mental stamina to just be able to handle this sustained pressure of the cash flow capacity catch-22 because it's not going away.
So there's a couple of things here just in terms of, I think, emotional, psychological elements here that we're talking about. And I think one of the things, I like about marketing, and I'm sure you found this too, is that those elements actually really come into play when you start thinking about how you can apply them to what you do strategically in many ways, and even just in terms of messaging and that type of thing. But there's another side to that too that I believe is really based on the emotional and psychological elements as they pertain to the business owner themselves, right?
Yes.
And so
Huge.
when they're thinking about like what they're doing from a marketing perspective. And so tell me more about this idea of what it really means for business owners as humans and their values and their goals and their personality, even how they get that all working for them in the right way.
Yes. Oh, you're asking amazing questions. These are such good questions. This is like the heart of the work. You're asking exactly the right questions. So we say the SLAP methodology is built on 4 concepts. Commitment is a choice. So going back to what we talked about earlier, you can choose to be committed to your success. I can't choose it for you. You can't choose it for me. We can all make choices to be committed. Profit is a skill. There's very basic skill that you need to learn. It's not an MBA. It's not 20 million courses and workshops. There's basic things you need in place to be profitable and sustainable. Mindset is a muscle, which is what you're talking about. And then success is science. There is behavior change science that tells us exactly what you need in order to set and hit goals. We can apply that to small businesses and then we can succeed. So going though to mindset as a muscle and going to what you just said, we think that there's 4 habits that small business owners need to build that we help them do in order to have a strong enough mindset to sustain the pressure of being a small business owner, of making the right choices, of doing the right behaviors, of making the right marketing choices in the most practical of senses. The first is to say no. So it is instinctual inside of us to say yes. And if you're the type of person that started a small business, you're a yes person, and that's a thing. But we want to build a habit of saying no as the primary, no to everything that is not the highest priority and in alignment with values. To your point about values, I'll just say this. Every single small business owner that uses SLAP, they set a time budget, how they're going to use their 168 hours a week, a revenue, profit, and sales target. So what they're going to do to build a profitable, sustainable business. And then they set an impact goal, what contribution they want to make to the world as they're growing their finances. And what we see is that 67% of our customers globally choose providing for their family as their impact goal, followed by creating jobs, creating equality, giving back to their community. Those are sort of the categories that are the highest chosen. So because we're a SaaS platform, we're collecting a lot of data. We're using that data to make recommendations of how the business owner can become better at growing their business. And then we're using gamification to try to motivate them. When we try to motivate a small business to do a modified or an optimized behavior, and we motivate them by the idea that they could hit their financial goal, which we'd all assume would be very motivating, zero success. No one cares. Small businesses are not motivated by money. This is like the grand irony. But when we game their behavior against their contribution goal, their impact goal, listen, if you do this behavior, you will hit the sales target. If you hit the sales target, you'll be able to take your family on that vacation you set as your impact goal. We can move mountains. And so if we're going to build a resilient mindset as small business owners, and actually if we're going to get good at the tactics of marketing, it ties all the way back to being connected to our values. It ties all the way back to remembering that when it's really hard, when the cash flow capacity catch-22 is brutal, when the marketing campaign we just spent $5,000 on didn't work and we're stressed and our credit card's maxed, that it's not about money and it's not about fame or fortune. It's about our values. It's about coming back to the contribution we want to make in the world. And so when we can align, I always say, when you're a small business owner, there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's not happening. Get over it. So instead, we need to be aligned. And alignment is way more powerful from a mindset point of view. If you can start to see that as your small business grows, so too does your health and wellness and resilience and your bank account, your profit, your sustainable, profitable revenue, and your contribution tied to your highest values, then all of a sudden your business doesn't become something you're fighting with and frustrated with. It becomes this powerful tool, this mechanism to build not just the business you want, but the life you want. And when we can get business owners into alignment, their mindset shifts, and all of a sudden we move behavior much more effectively. And then that has that positive impact of we make more money.
It's amazing how much that mind shift really comes in, right? The mindset shift really comes in to do this.
It's critical. It's foundational. It's non-negotiable. If that can't happen, that's where when ego's there, right? If you think you've got it all figured out, you can't make that shift.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing we can do.
Right. One of the things I think is most difficult, and one of the challenges that as a business owner, or just in life, really, I mean, if you think about it, is that there's going to be so many decisions thrown your way that you have to make. And what I love about some of the things that you're listing here and saying that people need to do is that by prioritizing the work and getting clear on what is important to you and setting the targets and setting the goals and doing those things, for me, those are all shortcuts to making decisions, to being
Yes.
able to say no
Yes.
to something, right?
Yes.
So that you can just forget, okay, great. I don't have to hem and haw on this. I can say no because I know it doesn't fit what I'm trying to do right now. So I can move to
Yes.
the next thing and then prioritize what's
Exactly.
important, right? What is it then that, I guess one of the things I think we're talking about here too, and what is great, and the thing that I admire with business owners too, is that you're in control, right? Like you get to choose, and much like you get to choose like how you're showing up in the world and your mission and what you're trying to do. I guess the question is, how does someone find the confidence to make those personal choices when it comes to what they can do from a marketing perspective, as opposed to what it is that we all think we're supposed to do?
Yes. Ugh, Dave, we need like 7 hours. You're getting
Let's set it
to
up part two. Let's
exactly,
go. I
really,
love this. Yeah.
really, you're getting to exactly the root of, so good. So first of all, at a practical level, every small business builds a SLAP statement. It's one sentence. It says what they do, who they do it for, the scale they do it on. 3 choices they have to make as a business. So silver lining SLAP statement is silver lining self SLAP to James on a global scale. So every time I have to make a decision, every time, Carissa, will you approve this new budget for the marketing team? Carissa, will you speak at this conference? Carissa, will you go on this podcast? Carissa, can we make this new hire? Carissa, what about this new feature in the software? Every request I get, my rule is, and we teach our SLAPsters the same thing, every time someone asks me for $1 of my money, 1 minute of my time, or 1 ounce of my energy, because energy management also matters in alignment, I ask myself 3 questions. Can I talk about SLAP? Will my ideal client be in the room? Is it global in scale? If the answer is 3 yeses, I show up. Here I am on this podcast, right? We're talking about SLAP, 2 small businesses on a global scale. Done. Easy yes. Even if I don't have time, I don't have money, I do it. But if it's only 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 or 0 out of 3, you cannot move me. I will not spend any time or money or energy on it. And so that's the simple framework for learning when to say yes or when to say no. Much deeper, much more important, which you touched on, is the confidence to make those choices, to actually let yourself make good choices. And I think one of the biggest mistakes we've done in the world of entrepreneurship is that we've created this very false idea that there's some formula for success. You know, if you just take my 7-week boot camp and you do these 47 emails in this way, you'll make $1 million. You know, if you are like this, if you raise venture capital, you'll raise millions and sell for billions. There's this formula that I think online marketers and gurus and tech entrepreneurs have sort of forced upon the world of entrepreneurship in the last 20 years. And I think it's at a great disservice to the confidence of the average business owner. And so we spend a significant amount of time in our community saying, there are all sorts of good ideas in the world. You need to be confident enough to do what is the best idea for your business. So you need an Instagram account. You don't. You need TikTok ads. You don't. You need Google ads. You don't. You should be sending an email every single day in a nurture campaign. You should never send an email. It's going to annoy people. There is no right or wrong answer. And the opportunity right now is that I think the marketing field is becoming so exciting. It's more and more accessible because of people like you making things easier to use for small businesses. You don't have to be a marketing expert to get good at marketing. So now the wisdom of the business owner really needs to be reliant on not assuming there's any one magical thing that's going to work for them, but using enough confidence and wisdom and alignment to say, this is what I do. This is who I do it for. This is the scale I do it on. And these are the best combination of activities and tools that I can use to connect with my ideal client to hit my sales goals. And so I really think that opportunity and access is becoming better, which is a wonderful thing, but so is overwhelm and spending a lot of time and money doing the wrong things. And so my hope and my wish and my dream for small businesses is to have such a simple business plan, such a simple action plan, as we call it, that making those choices is really easy. And so the confidence relies on the simplicity of just a good strategy, not feeling like you have to have it all figured out.
It's amazing too how much the simplicity also can many times be a problem, because you feel like, really, is it that simple? And then you ignore it. But it's like, no, if you just do those things, like it's is that simple.
That simple.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
All right. Sadly, we're coming to the end of our time here. So I want to ask you one more thing. So if there's one thing that someone listening to this here takes away from the conversation, what do you hope it is?
You were brave, audacious, courageous enough to start your own small business. don't fall into the trap of assuming there's a simple answer that is right for everybody. Don't go looking for someone to tell you what to do with your business. Build the confidence and the clarity of what is right for your business. And I think if all of us as business owners build businesses on our own terms in a way that works for our alignment, our personal goals for ourselves, our profit, our impact, and then we really do not do everything, but we do the right things with the time and the money that we have, we can dramatically increase the success rate of small businesses, which dramatically changes how the global economy flows and makes it better for everyone. So your success matters. Your small business is very big. It's very consequential. And the beautiful thing about how you succeed most is actually by getting most aligned with yourself, not looking for an outside answer, but getting to your own truth and building your business based on that.
Well, friend, let's recap some items from that discussion. Number 1, educate. Don't market. If there was ever a secret to marketing success, Carissa just revealed it to us. As she tells us, nobody wants to be marketed to, but people do want to connect. So your marketing mission becomes, how can you share your message and add value to as many people as possible? How can you do that in a compelling and authentic way so that you build trust? And how can you use that trust to get the right people to do business with you? So don't be afraid to share your knowledge freely to attract those that need your support. Number 2, connect with your ideal client. Carissa goes beyond the generic target market. Instead, Silver Lining has an ideal client. This is a very specific profile of who the business is best suited to serve. Carissa instructs us that your ideal client must have 4 attributes. They must be someone who pays for your products or services. They must be someone who values you because you're meeting a real need for them. They must be someone who refers you to others. And they must be someone you enjoy working with. As Carissa explains it, you want to wake up in the morning and think, how fabulous that I get to serve these people. Now, just a reminder here that these are real people, not some made-up avatar. If you can be specific and diligent, you'll find you can develop the marketing strategies that connect with the reality of that ideal client, which in turn allows you to attract more of the right people to your business. That ideal client is your North Star. Number 3, spend time and money on high priority actions. Carissa introduced us to the idea of the cash flow capacity catch-22. As business owners, we think we need more money to make more time and more time to make more money. And then the irony is that every small business on the planet wants to grow their business, but again, growth requires time and money. And businesses fail because they either run out of time or they run out of money. They either burn out or they go bankrupt. So that means to shift the success rate of your small business, you need to be better at using your time and the money that you do have. And that means shifting time and money toward highest priority activities. And that also means building the mental resilience to handle the cash flow capacity catch-22 because, well, it never goes away. That means you've got to build the skill set of saying no to anything that is not the highest priority. Then spend every minute of your time and every dollar of your money on those highest priority actions. By doing so, you'll see a direct correlation to your overall results. So remember, focus on those highest priority actions. Here's your action item for today. Take a moment to celebrate you. Being a business owner is hard. You're doing something that many people don't have the courage to do. And I want to go back to something that Carissa said here, and it's that your success matters. Your small business is very big. It's very consequential. And the beautiful thing about how you succeed most is actually by getting most aligned with yourself. Not looking for an outside answer, but getting to your own truth and building your business based on that. Friend, you've got this. And thanks for letting the Be a Marketer podcast and Constant Contact be part of your journey. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. Please take a moment to leave us a review. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/BAM. Your honest feedback will help other small business marketers like yourself find the show. That's ratethispodcast.com/BAM. Well, friend, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and continued success to you and your business.